Hey YouTube, Kira Qualia here, bringing you all my Cardfight Vanguard Overdress Zorga Alchemagic deck profile for post-Festival Collection 2021. With the release of the latest Festival Collection, we were given some new support for Stoicheia altogether. I definitely say the new support helps with just the overall playstyle of Zorga, which is just focusing on the drop zone and all the different normal units and blitz order units we have in the deck for a very unique playstyle that just sums up using Alchemagic to gain the card abilities of different normal orders in your drop zone each turn. And then with the new support, like I said, just really helps with the recycle power of all the additional cards we run in the deck. So let's go ahead and get started with the deck profile. So this will probably be the last update to the deck until we get the newer support from the set 2 booster set. But for the start deck, running one of the Dream Nibbling, it's just the go-to, I would say, most aesthetically pleasing starter in the deck, being the grand blue theme that Stoicheia tried to follow with this deck. And for the grade 1, we run one Rancor Chain on Vanguard Circle once per turn. Soul Blast 1, draw 2 cards, choose up to 1 order card from your hand, discard it. If you did not discard, you choose 2 cards from your hand and discard them. And on Rearguard, if you played an order this turn, it gets plus 2,000 power, which it's very easy to call Rancor Chain from your drop zone after you have it in the drop zone from a Soul Blast. But also remember, you choose an order card. It doesn't have to be a normal order. It can be a blitz order even from your hand to discard for the draw 2. So it's just very beneficial because then you can add it back to your hand when you ride Black Tear's Husk Dragon when it's placed on Vanguard. Choose up to 1 normal order from your drop zone and put it into your hand. So just that recycle power like I spoke of before. What you discarded, you'll add back, so you'll have plenty of hand consistency and also your order to add back to your hand, as long as it was a normal order. If you discarded a blitz order, you better just hope you have a normal order in your drop zone to add back with Husk Dragon, but still makes up for the plus 2 draw, so you'll at least have something to discard off of it. And then our go-to grade 3 ride target is the main grade 3 of the deck, and that is Mysterious Rain Spiritualist Zorga, being just the option of best ride target, and that's why we're also running 3 additional copies of this card in the deck. With Zorga, when you would play a normal order, you can bind a normal order with a different card name from your drop zone and Alchemagic. You basically combine the costs and add the effects together, so it lets you basically add and activate 2 cards, since you can only normally activate 1 normal order per turn. So with this card, you can activate 2, basically binding the one from the drop zone, gaining you additional power with those cards, giving you more rear guards to call, giving you more power to cards on the field, as long as you have the resources to use for all those different cards. And also on Vanguard Circle, once per turn, you can counterblast 1 and choose a card from your drop zone and call it to rear. Just giving you that call to rear works for a good number of the different cards we run in the deck, with one of them being our go-to backup card from the Festival Collection, and that is Hydro Rail Dragon. On Rearguard, when this unit attack hits a Vanguard, you retire this unit. Choose a grade 3 card from your drop zone and put it into your hand. So you Soul Blast a lot in this deck, so there's a chance you can Soul Blast one of these Zorgas that was Persona Road with the deck. But there's also a chance that Zorga can be milled to the drop zone with some of the other cards we run in the deck. So being able to have the option to add it back to your hand by retiring your Hydro Rail Dragon means that you can just call back Hydro Rail Dragon with your Zorga on your Vanguard next turn, and also give you the card to Persona Ride again, continuing the loop of Persona Ride, so you always have that consistent draw power and plus 10,000 power to the front row. It's just a good card to run for the pressure, because alone it's not that strong, but you have plenty of power-up cards in the deck, including just Persona Riding with Zorga itself, giving this card the plus 10 in the front row and the pressure to at least hit a Vanguard and then gain the add back to your hand. And for the grade 2s, we are running 4 of the Inheritance Maiden, Handrina. This is the card I mentioned before, where the mill power comes into play. When this unit is placed on rearguard, you may discard 3 cards from the top of your deck. So this card helps to set up a bunch of different cards in your drop zone that you can ideally call back onto the field using your Zorga once per turn. But also on rearguard, you can retire this unit until the end of the turn. And the next time you would Alchemagic any order you play it, you may choose not to pay all the cards costs for Soul Blast. So with that, you have a way to save your Soul Blast, since a good majority of the different cards you would use for Alchemagic rely on a lot of Soul Blasting. So having Handrina be able just to cover the cost for that and give you more of your drop zone setup just makes it all the better and a 4-off to play. So you at least see this card in the drop zone, or at least in your hand to use, retire, and then call back onto the field with Zorga. And for the last of the grade 2s, we run really low grade 1s to count, basically because of the fact of all the additional, orders that we have to run. So for the final grade 2s, I just run 3 additional Black Tears Husk Dragon. Being a power card, if you played in order this turn, it gets plus 5,000 power. So with this card, as long as you Alchemagic and use that order, it gets plus 5,000 power. And it's a continuous power option, and just good for another option along with Hendrina to call from the drop zone onto the field, but also just being able to benefit from that plus 5 power, and also have the intercept option is why I kept the Black Tears Husk Dragon in the deck and replaced the grade 3 version with the Hydro Rail for the consistency for the grade 3 recycle. And moving on now to the grade 1s. For the grade 1s, we are running 2 Conjuring Mutant Adamantis. When this unit is placed on rearguard, choose one of your other rearguards, and it gets plus 5,000 power until end of turn. So if you don't have this rearguards in your drop zone, being able to at least call it with Zorga gives you the additional plus 5 option for another rearguard on the field, and then also being able to bounce it back with one of our other order units that we're running, which I'll get to in just a bit, to recycle it, because it just says when it's placed on rear, not from the drop zone, not from your hand, no specifics there, it just has to be placed on rear guard. So it can be from your hand, drop zone, you name it. I like to run 2 of this card just in case one gets damage zoned. We at least have the option to see the other one go into the drop zone to call back each turn. And then for the other grade 1 that we run in the deck, just 4 of the Sentinel, the Planar Prevent Dragon, being the Sentinel of choice, being able to have the 2 in your hand and then guarding with the 1 if it's the only other card in your hand, at least not having to pay the cost against your opponent, and then being able to use this last one hands-free, being able to block your opponent's over trigger with the Vanguard is the big play. I like to go with that. And then if they know that the attack's getting blocked, obviously, they'll give all the power to the rear guard, and if you have to block that attack as well, this final Sentinel can stop it also. And that is it for the grade 1s. For the orders, for the normal orders, starting off, we are running 4 of the Spiritual Body Condensation. You play this card with a Soul Blast of 1. Choose a card with a grade equal to or less from your Vanguard, and basically from your drop zone, and call it to rear. And it gets plus 5,000 till end of turn. So with it, as long as you have Zorga on your Vanguard, you can call a good majority of cards from your drop zone to the rear. If you have Zorgas once per turn, being the card you call out to the field, you can then call the additional card with your Spiritual Body Condensation, or even if this card's in your drop zone, you have this card as a target for Alchemagic. And if you also retire Hendrina, you can then make sure you don't have to pay the Soul Blast cost with this card, giving you that additional call along with whatever other card you activated for your normal order for the turn. Since remember, you can only activate 1 normal order per turn with those cards. For the other normal orders that I run, I also run 3 Grief, Despair, and Rejection. You play this card with the Counterblast 1, so sadly this card doesn't work as well with Hendrina, but still one of my choice ones to use in my hand for just the fact that it's played with a Counterblast of 1. If your Vanguard is Mysterious Reign Spiritualist Zorga, choose 3 of your units and they get plus 10,000 until end of turn. So with this card, you have the plus 10,000 power. If you didn't Persona Ride, you give your front row rear guards the additional plus 10,000 power, making Hydro Rail Dragon that much more of a pressure card, since it'll be at 23,000 power without the boost. And also, if you Persona Road, it's 20,000 power. You just have to remember that you have to have the 3 of your units. It's not like Persona Riding where you just have the initial plus 10,000 power to the front row. There have to be units on the field for you to activate Grief, Despair, and Rejection. I also run 2 of the Cursed Souls Squirming in Agony. Now, this one is a pretty big cost since it's a Soul Blast of 2. You look at 4 cards from the top of your deck, choose up to 1 unit from among them, call it to rear, and discard the rest. If during Alchemagic, call up to 2 cards instead of 1, and all of the orders normal you basically called with this card get plus 5,000 with this power. So with this card, I only run 2. You can set it up in the drop zone either with your discard of your Rancor Chain, or even just with the mill with cards like Hendrina. So being able to have no cost for the Soul Blast makes this card even better, because then you can call a pretty good full field on the field with Zorga, and then whatever there other of your normal orders you may activate, like your Body Condensation, and then being able to have this be the banish cost for that card to use. And for the last of the orders, for the Blitz order, these are activated during your opponent's attack step. You run 2 Ghost Chase. I tested the card out, and I do like its recycle power with your grade 1 Conspiring Mutant Adamantis, and also the option with Hendrina. You choose one of your units, it gets plus 5,000 until end of that battle, and choose one of your rear guards not being attacked and return it to the hand. So being able to return that card to the hand is the big play with this card. It'll protect it from either your opponent attacking into that card, card, but also providing one of your units with plus 5,000 power can be enough just to block one of those attacks using this card on your opponent's turn. I only run the 2 though. It can be used for the Rancor Chain discard, like I said, but you can't add it back with your Husk Dragon being a Blitz order and not a normal order. And then for the trigger lineup, I still have the rainbow lineup for the triggers. I do want to run 7 critical, but I have the 4 Abyss Temptation and the 3 Lost Child of Attachment. I just need to get a couple more of the critical triggers from the latest start deck for Stoicheia. So when I get that, I will definitely be running 7 critical, just additional pressure with the second trigger of choice, that being the Grudgeful Hatchet. The front trigger, along with the plus 20,000 power we can give to our units in this deck, can just make for immense pressure, but also being able to build up Hydra Rail Dragon to 33,000 to at least get that guaranteed Zorga back to hand, is why I like running the front trigger over the draw trigger initially also. And lastly, the 4 of the LG Pixie for the heal trigger, just most fitting, I would say, with the Grand Blue like Stoicheia, Alchemagic Zorga deck, and the over trigger being the Bless Favor Dragon, having the option of when you draft check it, draw a card and choose one of your units, and it gets plus additional critical until end of turn, and all of your front row gets plus 10,000 power, and if your damage zone has more cards than your opponent, choose a card from your damage zone and heal it. So a great recovery card, but also a great way just to enact pressure against your opponent with all your units and also saving you from some more damage. But that is it for the deck profile. I hope you all enjoy the video. Just updating some of these decks from the Festival Collection until the newest set comes out, the Set 2, with a bunch of new support for all 10 of the decks, and then the additional support, including Dragonic Overlord and Fan Blaster Dragon, which I'm definitely excited for as well. And I hope you all look forward to those deck profiles. But until then, and until next time, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and Kira Qualia out.